Hey, I'm Greg Gonzalez. On today's episode of Retirement Made Easy, I wanted to talk about a question that I'm getting over and over is, how much am I going to spend in retirement? And there's this rule of thumb that a couple people have brought out. It's called the replacement ratio. So meaning it's 70%. So if you make $100,000, 70% of $100,000 is $70,000 a year. So I wanted to talk about that on today's episode and give you food for thought, because nobody is going to have the exact same experience in retirement. Your spending could be higher or lower. Believe me, we work with over 100 different families at my firm, and some of them spend more in retirement than they did when they were working. Others spend about the same. And then we have some clients that are, frugal by nature, and they spend less in retirement than they did when they were working. So let's look at an example together. So this is a very simple example. I try to make everything as easy as possible. So let's assume somebody has a gross salary of $100,000. Now, you may make more than $100,000 or you make less than $100,000, but the concept is what we're looking for here. So make $100,000. You're going to have payroll taxes, which is FICA. That's the amount of money that's going towards Social Security and Medicare. 7.65%. So simple math, and that's why we use round numbers, is $7,650 a year is going to FICA taxes. Federal and state income taxes, well, there's some states that there is no state income taxes. And so if you're in Florida or Texas, for example, this may not apply to you. But we're going to round here and say, okay, ballpark, let's say $16,000 goes towards state and federal income taxes. And then your 401k, we're assuming maybe you have a 401k contribution that is a payroll deduction. So it comes right out of your paycheck, goes into your 401k. And what I did was I looked at the Q2, quarter two for 2024 Fidelity 401k study. And what it showed, it kind of grouped 24 million 401k participants that they have data on. And they showed for the baby boomer generation, for the average baby boomer 401k participant, the average contribution rate was 11.18%. Now, yours might be higher, yours might be lower. You may have no match. Other people may have a match, but we're just going to go with the study, Fidelity's 401k study here. And again, that's 11.8%. So on a $100,000 salary, that's an $11,800 per year contribution. And then we're going to assume there's health insurance premiums that are coming out of your paycheck, maybe disability insurance, maybe vision, maybe group life, other expenses like that that are deducted. We're going to assume, make a kind of generalization that it's $4,000 per year. So we add up all of those different line items and we say, okay, what's the net take-home pay here? After all those things are accounted for, and we come up with $60,550. So that rule of thumb says, okay, you expect to live on 70% of your pre-retirement income. So that would be $70,000. So we're a little off here, but keep in mind, there might be some expenses in retirement that weren't there while you were working, or maybe in retirement, there's some expenses that are higher than when you were working. And so I'm going to go on down here. I laid some of those out. So what costs? So as you think about your own retirement, what costs will be higher for you in retirement? So you got to think about that because you possess your own retirement vision, not the retirement vision of your neighbor or your brother or sister or cousin. You got to kind of think of, okay, what is my retirement vision and what is this going to cost me? So, and that's why retirement planning is so personalized, because you have one person that says, well, you spend way, way more than you need to in retirement. Well, that's that other person's vision. That's their goals. That's the life that they want to live in retirement. They're trying to live the best years of their life. So we can't judge what another person is spending. We can only, worry about ourselves. So, and plan for ourselves. So maybe your traveling and hobbies, number one here, are going to be higher. We often see this, that, hey, in retirement, every day's a Saturday. And a lot of our retired clients end up spending much, much more in retirement on traveling and hobbies than they did their entire life because they've got the time to do so. Maybe that $60,000 that we set up there, maybe that's not enough because you've got goals and dreams that maybe you got a bucket list of places you want to see and friends you want to visit and things like that. So you've got to say, okay, traveling and hobbies, what is this really going to cost me? And then number two is kind of the big thing, is health insurance and healthcare costs. And I think a lot of people underestimate this because while you're working, maybe you had group health insurance, maybe you're covered under your spouse's group health insurance, and it was something that maybe you didn't pay so much attention to. But then fast forward into retirement, and you can kind of clearly see not only am I getting older, so maybe there's more trips to the doctor, but also your insurance coverage may cost you more than you were working. And as we get older, our healthcare costs tend to go up. Our bodies aren't made to last forever, so we wear out. So that's one thing to consider. And healthcare costs in general go up. They trend more than inflation. If you look at a lot of studies, that healthcare costs trend 2 to 3 times what general inflation actually increases year by year. So please, 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 as you're doing your planning for retirement, factor in that healthcare costs are going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing throughout the rest of your life. And then number 3, maybe you've got personal goals. And again, this is where it gets very, very specific to the individual retiree. We have clients, for example, that want to help fund their grandkids' college education. We have others that's not a goal whatsoever. We have other clients that don't have any grandkids. We have some clients that want to have a second home or a condo in Florida or in South Carolina or somewhere like that, Arizona. And those costs may be higher in retirement, trying to, afford 2 different properties, 2 different homes. And whatever those goals are that you have, these are personal goals. And those might be over and above what you were spending while you were working. Because again, now you've got more time. You can spend 6 months in Florida if you want to, and the other 6 months where you spent your working life or wherever you call home. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if I scroll up again, a rule of thumb might work for some people, but I can only give you example after example of people that I've worked with that when we get really, really specific on what their goals are and what the spending in retirement is going to cost, I think a lot of people are surprised that, hey, gosh, I'm actually spending more in retirement than I did when I was working. And on the other side of the coin, we have the people that, hey, maybe they get their house paid off right near retirement. So going into retirement, they can live on less money. And maybe these people have simple goals. They're frugal people. They're kind of homebodies. They don't want to do a lot of traveling. And maybe their family is very, very close. So their traveling budget is not going to be as high as maybe the client that we work with that maybe has kids and grandkids that are spread out across the country. And they're going to have a lot bigger travel budget to go and spend time with them and see them. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, I encourage you not to use this rule of 70 income replacement ratio as a science. We should really, really dig a little bit deeper because this is our retirement that we're talking about. And simply going off of a rule of thumb can really, really be dangerous for some people. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about how we help people plan for a successful retirement, visit our website, stlouisfinancialadvisor.com. I'll see you next time.